Good day, you beautiful people of YouTube. It's the Mad Marine here, and well, today's another day. We're going to be talking about an AK. We're going to be talking about a Sega AK. Now, before we jump any more farther into this, I will ask you to please like, comment, share, and subscribe. That only helps the channel grow, and hopefully that'll allow me to do more things for you guys. All right, so the Sega AK. Now, you may be asking yourself, Mad, why is the AK in pieces? Well, this would be the easiest way for me to show you about all the things wrong with this AK. And I'll give you a quick backstory on this AK. I got this AK through a friend of a friend. Originally, I was told it was a red jacket built rifle. We didn't knew it was an AK, and that was all we knew. And then we got some pictures, and then I got the AK. And it kind of just went downhill and downhill. So, we'll start off first. We're going to start from the back and move our way forward. So, first things first, we're going to talk about the back of the AK, particularly the rear trunnion. Now, for those of you who are familiar with AKs, you might be saying to yourself, Mad, that's part of the rear trunnion. Where's the tang? And you would be correct. That tang is missing. And so there's a little usually loop that comes out with another little hole, and that sits in there. And most stocks like that. And kind of like that was where it would sit. For whatever reason, the imbecile who wanted this installed or whatever shaved the rear tang off. Now, Russian rear trunnions are not cheap. And unfortunately, U.S. production trunnions are running anywhere from like 25 to 50 bucks. I've seen some Bulgarians out in the world for about 50 to 75, so that makes me think Russians are probably 75 to 100. So, great job for destroying a $100 part. To install a cheap, and here's the even better part, they had to mill this out so they could even fit this in there. A very cheap Ace side folder stock. Why? This irks the hell out of me. This is so stupid. So, whoever did this just devalued the gun. Now, is this all fixable? Sure. But, do you want to spend your time and money fixing this? Maybe if it's for the right price. Now, another thing is in here, originally, when you get these things were originally imported, these came in as sporter configurations. And they had a different, sporter, hunting stock on the back. And the trigger was actually where this pistol grip was. And you had to remove this and remove some rivets and move this trigger forward and fill in some holes, which they actually did. And they actually did, at least on this side, halfway decent job of filling in those holes. On this side, the paint they used is very kind of coarse, and it wasn't a very good quality paint job on this side. On this side, it wasn't too bad. Actually, this side, they did pretty snazzy job. And this side, they sucked. Did not do a good job. Also, under here, they were supposed to fill in these holes, and they filled in some of them, but for whatever reason, they didn't fill in the other holes. And again, the paint is kind of awful. I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, you can see the discoloration, at least I'm seeing on the camera right now. But it's kind of textured. It should be very smooth, and it's not. So, unfortunately, they screwed that up. There's a couple more holes in here that they were supposed to fix. There's a Tapco G2 trigger. I'm thinking this was done somewhere between 2008 and 2012, if I had to guess when this conversion was done. The other jacked up thing is they put a wood screw in for the bullet guide down here, and that's really not supposed to be like that. So it's not made out of balsa wood. It actually is a metal bullet guide. So I'm perplexed on if that is even correct. I'm going to say it's not. But that's the next jacked up thing on that. The other weird jacked up thing on this is not the right way to make the hole for the detent, or for the oh goodness, the handguard retainer. It's kind of jacked up. It'll go on all right, but when you put the handguards on, it's super tight. And then getting this thing off and on requires a lot of force. And as you can see, it's already marring up here. So not the best. Which leads me to the next ridiculous thing. They didn't come like this. So somebody had to put this on. But if you look, there's no screws or inserts. This is a solid piece, which means you have to slide it in from the front of the barrel. So some, not genius, but some moron removed this, the front sight. We'll talk about that in a minute. Removed the gas block, put this on, right? And then instead of putting on the correct gas block, they just put the old one back on. And then, on top of that, they put an AK-47 front sight. Now, this is kind of correct, and I'm willing to forgive this out of almost all the things that were done, although they shouldn't have done that. What they should have done is put a, this is a 1x14. They should have done a 1x24 millimeter thread, an AK-74 front sight block, and put that on there and use this little cut right here and put the AK-74 front sight block on. Instead, they did by the 1x14. Why? I have no idea. So now we're stuck with this. This is where we're at with this particular rifle. Unfortunately, the individual also got super, super cheap furniture. They did get a decent surefire light for the time, but unfortunately, you know, like, I don't know, 300 lumens isn't very good anymore. You know, it's pretty bottom of the barrel. And that's just time, and that's no fault of the purchaser. It's just, you know, that got outdated. And they did do the handguard conversion, so granted they didn't do a great job, but they did get a new gas tube and put that on there. So again, with their cheap furniture, and I'm trying to remember who used to make this. TDI. I don't remember who they are. I don't think they're in business anymore, but I do remember seeing this old junky handguard furniture around and was never particularly impressed with it. But that's what's wrong with this rifle. So here's the question for you guys. Do I buy it? Do I fix it? Do I say hell no? Yeah, I go back and forth on this thing. 1 minute I was like, I can save it, and the other minute I'm like, do I want to save it? You know, I've got more AKs I need to build anyway. You know, one more. Would I like a Saiga rifle? Yeah, but honestly, I want a Saiga rifle in 5.56 or a Saiga rifle in 5.45 more than I want another 74. I would love a Saiga or 47. I would love a Saiga, but and it shot great. I took it to the range, but with all the things that are wrong with it, it's hard to justify it. Yeah, who knows? It's going to be more work to fix than if I were just get a unconverted and start fresh and new. So that's where I'm at with this one. So long story short, things to look for when buying AKs. People can bubba it and screw it up and do it the wrong way and devalue the gun and make it more difficult to fix later. Not to say that that doesn't happen on ARs. It's just ARs are usually easier to fix than AKs because they don't require rivets and tooling and filing and machining and drilling out pins or punching out in and out pins and finding a very expensive parts online. Although AR parts are up too. So that is where we are at with this monstrosity. So I would love to hear your comments about this particular weapon. If anything you saw or noticed I missed, or you're like, say, save the AK, or don't do it, Mad. You don't need that headache in your life. I would kind of say I agree on that. Although if I were to buy this, there's no rush. You know, I can take my sweet time on it. But just very odd stuff that was done to this particular rifle. But I hope you enjoyed it. I will reassemble this for the owner, and I will have given it a very nice, good cleaning. So I don't think since they had purchased it, it had ever been cleaned. I don't think it had been fired particularly too much, but now it's clean, so that's great. And I will catch you later. Mad Marine signing off.